Hello and welcome to Baking on a Budget. In this video we have this beautiful homemade quiche recipe. Very simple to make, absolutely delicious, and only 39p a slice. As usual, I have all of the ingredients over here, which I'm going to go through with you, tell you how much of it there is and how much all of that cost. The pastry case, we have 160 grams of plain flour at 9p. We have 40 grams of lard at 8p. We have 40 grams of butter at 30p. And we have a couple of tablespoons of water, which we can't really cost. Now, moving on to the filling. For this filling we have one onion, which is 9p. We have 115 grams of mature cheddar cheese, which is 75p. We have 100 ml of double cream at 38p. We have 200 ml of whole milk at 12p. We got 4 eggs at 52p. We've got a crack of salt and pepper, which is about 2p, and we'll also need a tablespoon of vegetable oil at 3p. So the whole of this quiche recipe is £2.34, and I'm saying we're going to get 6 slices out of that, which makes that 39p a slice. So the first thing to do is make the pastry. It's a very basic shortcrust pastry recipe. There is a link to a video on the screen there, which will show you how to do this in detail. I'm just going to run through it quickly here. In the bowl we have 160 grams of plain flour. To that we're going to add the lard. That's 40 grams of lard and 40 grams of the butter. We just want to rub this in until it becomes like a breadcrumb sort of mix. And all of the fats have been cooled in the fridge before we start doing this. And there it is, a couple of minutes later. It should be looking like this, like a coarse breadcrumb sort of mix. Now to that I'm just going to put 2 tablespoons of cold water, and I'm going to start bringing that together with the spoon. And really we just want this, as soon as this starts to come together we can get it out on the board and get it back into the fridge for a while. And that is looking good. Okay, so we've got that out onto the board. We just want to roll it round, cover it in the cling film, and then that's going in the fridge. I'm going to chop up this onion and I'm going to fry this very lightly for the filling of the quiche. That will do. And on the hob we have a small pan with just a drizzle of oil in the bottom. We're going to put the onion in there over, as I say, very low heat. We just want this to soften. Go a little bit translucent. We can stir that up, keep an eye on it over a very low heat, and that will just take a few minutes to do. Now as the onions are softening, I am just going to grate this cheese fairly coarsely and prepare the rest of the filling for the quiche. Right, there's the cheese grated and some of my fingers, but that'll be alright. We have the 4 eggs. I'm just going to crack these into the cup and whisk them up first. Okay, eggs are in the cup. We just want to beat them up, combine the yolks and the whites. Now the next step is just to combine all of this. So we have 200 millilitres of whole milk, and to that I've added 100 millilitres of double cream. And to that I'm going to add these eggs. Now I'm going to keep just a brushful of that egg mix, just about that much, back for the pastry case later. Again, we don't want to beat this too much, we just want to combine it. And into that I'm going to put a generous crack of black pepper and just a pinch of salt. Okay, the onions have had about 5 minutes on a very low heat, and they are just nice and soft, just becoming translucent. And I'm going to turn them out onto this kitchen roll just to absorb any of the excess oil. Alright, so that is the filling prepared. I'm just going to set these aside and we can now get the pastry back out of the fridge. Alrighty, so the pastry's had half an hour in the fridge, that's all good. We're going to roll that out, and we're going to roll it out to fit into this. This is a deep sort of fluted flan tin or quiche tray, and the bottom comes off that, makes it very easy to get the thing out. Now the quiche itself probably won't be this deep, so there will be a little bit of a shoulder crust on this particular quiche. You want to get a little bit of flour on the board, and we want to roll this out to about 2 inches bigger than the base of the tray itself. So we're just going to start with that, and this will probably end up about 2-3 millimeters thick, and if we can keep it close to a round, we would be winning. Alright, I'll just check that with the base. Touch more. Just a few little rolls in each direction. There we are. That's about 2 inches greater than the base of the tray. So we're going to roll that up at this point onto the pin. We've got our tray like this, and we just want to pop that over the top and then very gently lower it into the case. Now if this doesn't reach right up to the top all the way around, that's not going to matter that much, because as I say, the quiche will be about 1 inch deep. The filling on this will end up about 1 inch deep, and that will leave, as I say, a little shoulder on this crust. So press it down into the corners, and then we want to take the back of the knife, and you've got to be careful with these. You can't hold it on the bottom. Well, you can, but you've got to be careful that the bottom doesn't come through. So we're just going to take that excess pastry off, and the very next thing to do with this is to give it a blind baking. Just make sure everything's nice and tight and flat. That's good. So for the blind baking, we're just going to prong the bottom of this so it doesn't rise too much, like so. And then we have a piece of greaseproof paper, which I've scrunched up, and that will fit right into the corners there. And then we have the rice. Chuck that in, press it down. Now this is going into an oven at 180 degrees centigrade, and it's going in there for 20 minutes. As I say, they are conversions into Fahrenheit, and the gas mark in the description below the video. Alright, in it goes. Okay, 20 minutes later, here it is. I'm just going to lift the baking rice out of there, and there it is. That's looking beautiful. Shrunken back a bit, but that's totally okay. Now, the rest of the egg that we saved back from the filling, we now want to egg wash the bottom of this, because this is a fairly runny filling here, a liquid filling, and we don't want that to come through the bottom of the quiche. And then we're simply going to put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes to let that crisp up and make a nice liquid proof case. Alrighty, and 10 minutes later, there it is. That's gone nice and crisp on the bottom, and as I say, this is just to prevent the liquids from sinking through the pastry and causing them to go soggy. So at this point we can start putting this recipe together. Now, you want to put the onions in first. These have dried off. The majority of the oil has gone from them, and we just want to spread them around on the bottom. And can I say, if you're enjoying the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you would like to see more videos like this of beautiful homemade dishes at a really reasonable price, do consider subscribing to the channel, because there are many more recipes to come. And for everyone who has subscribed so far, thank you so much. I really enjoy reading all the comments. Right, so there we have a layer of the onion and a layer of the cheese, and this egg, milk and cream mix we're simply going to pour on top of that. We want to get all of that in. That's looking good. Right, we'll just mix that around a little bit. Now, this is going back into the oven at 170 degrees, and it's going to stay in there for about 20-25 minutes. We just want to keep an eye on it, and we want it to be fairly solid, just a little bit of wobble in the middle, and that will be perfect. Okay, and just over 25 minutes later, here is the quiche. It's looking absolutely beautiful, smelling absolutely beautiful, and we're going to let it cool a little, and then we'll take a look inside and see what that texture is like. Okay, that's cooled down a little, and look at that. That looks beautiful. That's really nice and fluffy inside. Beautiful crisp crust, and I'm going to have a try this. Now, this slice of quiche, deep filled quiche, came out at 39 pence. The whole recipe there is £2.34, and that quiche is going to last me a good few days, me and the family a good few days with that quiche. So it certainly is on a budget, very reasonable price, and let's taste it. That's one of those melt in the mouth things. The pastry on the bottom is fine, nice and crisp. Let me see if I can get some of that up. That is one delicious quiche. As I say, this is a very simple recipe. Let me try some with the crust. That crust looks beautiful. The crust is light and crispy. Say with the onions, with frying them first, they're a little softer in the bottom of the quiche, which is the way I like them. This is a basic quiche recipe, just the cheese and the onion. Many other things you could put in there. Put a little bit of fried bacon in there. Some potato and spinach would be very nice. Tomatoes. If you've enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed watching me make this homemade quiche, very simple, do give the video a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more homemade, wholesome baking in the future, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I thank you very much for watching.